Hello, and welcome to tonight's Space Sleep Story. Tonight, we explore Yuri Gagarin's journey to become the first human in space. On April 12, 1961, a 27-year-old Soviet pilot climbed into a spherical capsule and left Earth for 108 minutes. His name would become known worldwide. But before that historic orbit, there was a boy from a small village, a fighter pilot with dreams, and a brutal selection process. So settle into your most comfortable position, close your eyes, and journey with us through the complete life of Yuri Alekseyevich Gagarin. Before we begin, let us prepare your body and mind with gentle breathing. Take a slow, deep breath with me now. Inhale gently for 4 counts. Hold the peace. Exhale for 6. Feel your body releasing into stillness. Notice how your chest rises and falls with each breath. Your shoulders drop. Tension melts away. Another gentle breath as we continue our preparation. This time, notice how your chest rises and falls naturally, effortlessly. Breathing is automatic, like sunrise itself. Hold this peaceful moment. Feel the stress of the day leaving your body. With each breath, you release a little more into relaxation, drifting toward the calm state where learning becomes peaceful contemplation. Yuri Alekseyevich Gagarin was born on March 9, 1934, in Klushino, a small village in Smolensk Oblast, Russia. His father, Alexey Ivanovich Gagarin, worked as a carpenter. His mother, Anna Timofeyevna Gagarina, was a dairy farmer. Yuri had two older brothers, Valentin and Boris, and a younger sister named Zoya. They were a simple family living in rural poverty, farming the land, surviving as peasants had for generations. But history would find this family, would mark them with war and hardship, and from that crucible would emerge a boy who dreamed of flight. October 1941. Yuri was 7 years old when Nazi forces invaded the Soviet Union and swept across the countryside. German troops occupied Klushino and held it for nearly 2 years. The Gagarin family was evicted from their home, which German officers commandeered for their own quarters. Yuri, his parents, and his siblings lived in a mud hut they dug themselves, enduring brutal conditions through Russian winters. He witnessed occupation, brutality, hunger. His brother Valentin and sister Zoya were captured and deported to Germany as forced laborers. They would not return until after the war ended. March 9th, 1943. Yuri Gagarin's 9th birthday. On that exact day, Soviet forces liberated Klushino and drove the Germans back. The village was in ruins, homes destroyed, fields scorched, but the occupation was over. In the years that followed, the family lived in a dugout while the village slowly rebuilt. Post-war poverty was severe, food scarce, but they had survived. And in young Yuri, something had been forged during those years of hardship. A quiet determination, a belief that life could be more than what he had known. A hunger for something beyond the devastated village. Yuri attended elementary school in Klushino, then moved to the nearby town of Gzhatsk for secondary education. In 1949, at age 15, he left home for vocational school in Lubetsy, near Moscow, where he trained as a foundryman, learning to cast metal. Hard work, hot furnaces, the practical trade of Soviet industrialization. But it was not enough for him. In 1951, he enrolled at Saratov Industrial Technical School to study tractors and agricultural machinery. And it was there, in Saratov, that everything changed. In 1954, Yuri joined the Saratov Aeroclub, and he discovered flying. His first flight was in a Yak-18 trainer, October 1954. Yuri later wrote, "The beautiful dream of flight had seized me. I could think of nothing else. That first solo flight above the Russian countryside awakened something profound in him. The sky called to him, vast and open, the opposite of the cramped mud hut of his childhood. Up there, weightless possibilities, freedom, purpose. He would not return to tractors and factories. The sky had claimed him. His destiny was already forming, though he could not yet see how far he would fly. In 1955, Yuri Gagarin was drafted into the Soviet Air Force. He was sent to the Chkalov Air Force Pilot School in Orenburg for formal flight training. He excelled, graduating in 1957 with honors as a lieutenant, now qualified to fly MiG-15 fighters. His first posting was to Luostari Air Base, near the Norwegian border in the Arctic, assigned to the 769th Fighter Aviation Regiment. Cold, remote, dangerous flying conditions over the frozen north. But Yuri thrived. On October 27, 1957, he married Valentina Goryacheva, a medical technician at the base. Their daughter Yelena was born in April 1959. Life was taking shape. By the time he was selected for the space program, Yuri had logged approximately 230 hours of flight time. He was a senior lieutenant, competent but not exceptional by the standards of Soviet fighter pilots. But Yuri had one advantage that would prove critical: his height. He stood just 157 centimeters tall, 5 feet 2 inches. Small stature, which in the fighter pilot world might be unremarkable, but for the cramped Vostok capsule, it was perfect. The spacecraft was tiny, a sphere barely large enough for one man, and Yuri would fit. That simple fact would change his life. In 1959 and 1960, the Soviet space program began searching for cosmonauts. The chief designer, Sergei Korolev, needed men who could survive launch, orbit, and reentry in a capsule that was essentially a metal ball with a single porthole. The initial pool was enormous. 3,461 Air Force pilots were considered. Medical screening narrowed that to 347 candidates who met basic requirements. Then, intensive evaluation reduced the group further to just 29. And in March 1960, the final selection was made. 20 cosmonauts chosen for training. Among them was Yuri Gagarin. He was 25 years old. His life would never be the same. The selection criteria was strict and specific. Age between 25 and 30 years old. Height under 175 centimeters. Weight under 72 kilograms. Excellent health. No medical issues whatsoever. And of course, Communist Party membership. But beyond the physical and political requirements, the psychologists were looking for something else. Emotional stability, the ability to withstand isolation and pressure, the capacity to represent the Soviet Union to the world. Gagarin possessed all of it. The warm smile, the genuine humility, the peasant background that made him relatable. He was perfect, not just as a pilot, but as a symbol. The 20 selected cosmonauts reported to a secret facility called Zvyozhny Gorodok, Star City, located 30 kilometers northeast of Moscow. For 13 months, from March 1960 to March 1961, they underwent the most intensive training imaginable. Physical torture, centrifuge spins reaching up to 12 G-forces, crushing them into their seats while their vision narrowed and their bodies strained. Isolation chambers, where they spent 10 days alone in silence, testing their psychological limits. Extreme temperature chambers, swinging from brutal heat to Arctic cold. Oxygen deprivation tests, vibration tables, parachute training, over 140 jumps. They were being prepared for the unknown. Technical education was equally demanding. Spacecraft systems, orbital mechanics, astronomy, navigation, manual control procedures, emergency protocols. They studied the Vostok capsule in obsessive detail, learning every switch, every gauge, every backup system. Constant medical monitoring tracked their blood pressure, heart rate, stress responses. Psychological evaluations probed their emotional state, their fears, their motivations. Political reliability was assessed continuously. Korolev himself observed their training, watching from the shadows, making mental notes. He was looking for the one who would go first, the one who could survive not just space, but the aftermath. The fame, the pressure, the scrutiny of the entire world. By late 1960, the group of 20 was narrowed further. 6 cosmonauts were selected for immediate flight readiness. The Vanguard Six, they were called. Yuri Gagarin, German Titov, Grigory Nelyubov, Andrian Nikolaev, Pavel Popovich, and Valery Bykovsky. Each of them trained on full Vostok simulators at the OKB-1 Design Bureau, practicing ascent, orbit, and reentry sequences over and over. Each imagined themselves sitting in that capsule, alone above Earth, making history. But Korolev was watching them closely, assessing not just technical skill, but charm, public presentation, propaganda value. Political reliability remained paramount, and a decision was approaching. Who would be first? February 1961. The choice came down to two men, Yuri Gagarin, age 27, and German Titov, age 25. On paper, Titov was the better pilot, taller, more intellectual, articulate, and confident. But there was a perception that he was arrogant, less relatable, perhaps too proud. Gagarin, by contrast, was modest, warm, genuine. Everyone liked Yuri. His peasant background was propaganda gold, the perfect Soviet story, from an occupied village to the stars. Korolyov made his choice. Gagarin would fly first. Titov would be backup and would fly the longer second mission. Both men intensified their training, but only one would make history. March 1961. Final preparations accelerated. Full Vostok simulations, emergency procedure drills, press training on how to speak to the world if he survived. Medical baselines were established. Political briefings outlined what he could and could not say. On March 27th, just 3 weeks before the scheduled launch, Gagarin's second daughter, Galina, was born. He saw her only once before departing for the launch site. April 10th, final medical checks confirmed he was ready. April 11th, Gagarin traveled to Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Technical briefings. Final rest. On the morning of April 12th, he woke at 5:30 a.m. Breakfast, meat paste, blackcurrant jam. Then the pressure suit, the white helmet. Everything ready. The Vostok 1 spacecraft was a marvel of engineering simplicity. A sphere, 2.3 meters in diameter, total mass 4,725 kilograms. The descent module itself weighed 2,460 kilograms. It was much heavier than the American Mercury capsules, which weighed only 1,355 kilograms, but the Soviets had powerful rockets. The spherical shape was chosen for its structural efficiency and predictable aerodynamics during reentry. Inside, a single porthole with triple-pane glass, an optical device called Visor for verifying Earth orientation, basic instruments, and an ejection seat. The manual controls were locked. Psychologists feared space madness, worried a cosmonaut might try to stay in orbit forever. The unlock code 125 was sealed in an envelope, only in an emergency. Now we move into deeper relaxation. The clips will become shorter, the silences longer. Let your body sink further into rest. Imagine Gagarin on the morning of April 12th, 1961. His heart rate steady, his breathing calm. He had trained for this moment. He was ready. And so are you, ready to rest, to let go. Continue breathing gently as we follow Gagarin to the launch pad. At 6:50 a.m. Moscow time, Gagarin and Titov, both in pressure suits, boarded the bus to the launch complex. Tradition held that cosmonauts urinate on the bus tire before boarding. Gagarin followed the ritual. They rode in silence across the steppe toward the waiting rocket. The R-7 rocket stood 38.36 meters tall, gleaming white against the pre-dawn sky. Fully fueled, it weighed 287,000 kilograms. At 7:10 a.m., Gagarin rode the elevator up the gantry and entered the capsule. Korolev watched from the underground bunker. The hatch closed at approximately 7:45 a.m. But immediately a sensor malfunction was detected. Engineers reopened the hatch, checked connections, and resealed it. A 30-minute delay, but Gagarin remained calm, joking with the engineers over the radio. His heart rate, just 64 beats per minute. Communications checks completed. All systems showed green. At 9 a.m., the final countdown began. In Russian, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nine 07 a.m. Moscow time. "20 combustion chambers ignited, 4 strap-on boosters plus the core stage. 3,990 kilonewtons of thrust roared beneath the capsule. And Gagarin spoke one word that would echo through history. Poyekhali. Off we go. The rocket lifted, slowly at first, then faster, accelerating upward. Vibration intense, G-forces building towards 6 times Earth gravity. Gagarin reported calmly, "I feel excellent, all systems nominal." The strap-on boosters separated, falling away. The core continued firing, pushing higher. At 9:18 a.m., approximately 11 minutes after launch, the engines cut off. Orbital insertion achieved. Perigee 169 kilometers. Apogee 327 kilometers. Orbital period 89.1 minutes. Yuri Gagarin was in space. The first human being to leave Earth. Weightlessness began immediately. Gagarin's first words from orbit: "I see Earth. It is so beautiful." Through the Vazor porthole, he watched Earth curve below him. Blue oceans, white clouds, the thin atmospheric band glowing at the horizon. A view no human had ever seen. He floated inside the cabin, testing movement, eating from tubes, drinking water. Everything worked. Communications with ground control continued, telemetry flowing back to Korolev. Over the Pacific, the capsule entered Earth's shadow. The first orbital sunset witnessed by human eyes. Darkness profound, stars brilliant. And then orbital sunrise approached. Gagarin described it as very beautiful, a smooth color transition through the atmosphere. Layers of color, orange blending into blue, the sun emerging over Earth's curved edge. Beauty beyond description. And then Gagarin made his most famous observation. The words he spoke from 300 kilometers above Earth. "The Earth is blue. How wonderful. It is amazing. The Earth is blue." A peaceful perspective from above. No borders visible from space. He unlocked the manual controls using the code 125, tested them briefly to verify functionality. They worked perfectly. He relocked them for automatic reentry. Traveling at 27,400 kilometers per hour, racing around the world. One orbit, 108 minutes total mission time. Then home. At 10:25 a.m. Moscow time, the automatic retro-rocket sequence initiated. A 246-second burn to reduce velocity and begin deorbit. But the service module failed to separate cleanly. It remained attached by cables, and the spacecraft began tumbling violently. Gagarin remained calm, trusting the design. At 10:35 a.m., atmospheric friction burned through the cables. The module separated and the capsule stabilized, heat shield forward. 8 to 10 G-forces pressed him into his seat. The porthole glowed orange. He saw crimson flames outside. Temperature on the heat shield, 3,000 degrees Celsius. At 7,000 meters altitude, explosive bolts fired. The ejection seat launched Gagarin from the capsule. His parachute deployed, and he descended separately from the spacecraft. Below, farmland in Saratov Oblast. At 10:55 a.m., he landed in a field. 108 minutes since launch. A farmer named Anna Taktarova and her granddaughter Rita saw an orange-suited figure descending from the sky. Gagarin approached them and said, "Don't be afraid. I am a Soviet like you who has descended from space." He needed a telephone to call Moscow. The recovery helicopter arrived 30 minutes later. The first human spaceflight was complete. TASS news agency announced the flight at 10 a.m. before Gagarin had even landed. Khrushchev was elated, immediately seeing the propaganda value. On April 14th, Red Square held a massive parade. Gagarin was awarded Hero of the Soviet Union. Instant global celebrity, the most famous human on Earth. In the years that followed, Gagarin visited over 30 countries as a Soviet ambassador. He met Queen Elizabeth II in July 1961. He was promoted to major, then colonel, but he was considered too valuable for propaganda to risk on further space flights. Eventually, he returned to training for the Soyuz program in 1966. But fate had other plans. March 27th, 1968. A training flight in a MiG-15 UTI two-seat trainer. Weather poor, visibility limited. At 10:31 a.m., the aircraft crashed near Kirzak, Vladimir Oblast. Yuri Gagarin was killed. He was 34 years old, just 7 years after his historic orbit. Global mourning followed. His ashes were interred in the Kremlin Wall necropolis, honored with a state funeral. Monuments were erected worldwide. His hometown Gazatsk was renamed Gagarin. A lunar crater bears his name. Asteroid 1772 Gagarin circles the Sun forever. And so tonight, we remember the boy from Klushino who touched the stars, who showed humanity what was possible, who looked down at Earth and said simply, "The Earth is blue. How wonderful." Rest now as Gagarin rests, peaceful and eternal. The training group narrowed to 6 for immediate flight readiness. Gagarin, German Titov, Grigory Nelyubov, Andriy Nikolaev, Pavel Popovich, Valery Bykovsky. Each trained on Vostok simulators at OKB-1 Design Bureau. Sergei Korolev observed personally, assessing not just technical skill, but charm, public presentation, propaganda value. Political reliability paramount in every evaluation. February 1961 brought decision time approaching. The 6 trained harder, knowing only one would go first. Korolev watched how each candidate carried himself, how he spoke, how he smiled. Technical excellence was assumed, but who could represent Soviet achievement to the world? Two finalists emerged from the 6. Yuri Gagarin, age 27, German Titov, age 25. Both excellent pilots, both politically reliable, both physically fit for the cramped Vostok capsule. The choice would come down to personality, background, presentation. Who should be first? Titov had advantages in some eyes. Better pilot technically, taller, more intellectual, highly articulate. He spoke eloquently about orbital mechanics and spacecraft systems. But some perceived him as arrogant, less relatable to common Soviet citizens. His confidence could seem like superiority. Gagarin possessed different qualities. Genuine warmth that everyone felt immediately. An infectious smile that put people at ease. His peasant background was propaganda gold. The boy from destroyed Klushino rising to touch stars. He embodied the Soviet narrative, modest man from the people. Everyone who met Gagarin liked him. Korolev noticed this quality. He is a good man and he smiles well, the chief designer observed. In February 1961, Korolev made his recommendation. Gagarin for the first flight, Titov for a longer second mission requiring his superior technical skills. Khrushchev's approval secured the decision. Gagarin informed he would be first, Titov his backup. both cosmonauts intensified their final preparations. Titov accepted his role professionally, though disappointment surely haunted him. History would remember the first name, perhaps not the second. March 1961 brought full Vostok simulations. Emergency procedure drills repeated until automatic. Press training teaching how to speak to the world if you survive. Medical baselines established. Physical conditioning peaked. March 27th, 3 weeks before launch, Gagarin's daughter, Galina, born. He saw her only once before leaving. April 10th arrived with final medical checks. Everything nominal, both prime and backup healthy. April 11th. Travel to Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Technical briefings continued. Gagarin maintained his characteristic calm, joking with engineers, putting nervous colleagues at ease. His heartbeat remained steady. The morning of April 12th, 1961. Gagarin woke at 5:30 a.m. Medical examination, breakfast of meat paste and blackcurrant jam. Technicians fitted him with sensor-equipped underwear, monitoring every physiological response. The orange Sokol pressure suit followed, then white helmet. Everything ready. Everything was ready for history. A 27-year-old pilot from a small, destroyed village. A spherical capsule atop a towering rocket. April 12th, 9:07 a.m. Moscow time approaching. 108 minutes that would transform human understanding. Baikonur waited in morning light. Baikonur Cosmodrome, Site 1/5. The R-7 rocket standing 38.36 meters tall. 287,000 kilograms fueled. Vostok 1 capsule atop. 4,725 kilograms. "6:50 a.m. Gagarin and Titov boarded the bus to pad, both in pressure suits. Traditional pre-launch urination on bus tire observed. 7:10 a.m. Elevator up gantry. Gagarin entered capsule. Korolev watched from bunker control. 7:45 a.m. Hatch closed. Sensor malfunction detected. Hatch reopened. Resealed. 30-minute delay. Gagarin remained calm, joking with engineers. Communications check completed. All systems nominal. 9:00 a.m. Final countdown began. Gagarin's heart rate 64 beats per minute. Remarkably calm. "9:07 a.m. Moscow time. Engines ignited. 3,990 kilonewtons thrust. 20 combustion chambers firing. RD-107 core plus 4 RD-108 boosters. And Gagarin spoke one word. Poyekhali. Off we go. The rocket lifted. Vibration intense. G-forces building towards 6G. Gagarin reporting, "I feel excellent." Altitude increasing, velocity building. Strap-on boosters separated, first staging. Core continued, pushing toward 27,400 kilometers per hour. 9:18 a.m. Engine cutoff. Orbital insertion achieved. Perigee 169 kilometers. Apogee 327 kilometers. Period 89.1 minutes. 64.95 degree inclination. Weightlessness began. First human to experience microgravity in space. Gagarin's first words from orbit. "I see Earth. It is so beautiful." viewing through Visor porthole. Earth curved below. Blue oceans, white clouds, thin atmospheric band. First human eyes to witness this view. Floating in cabin, testing movement. Ate food from tubes, drank water. Tested writing in weightlessness. Everything worked as designed. Communications with Zarya ground control. Over Pacific entered Earth's shadow. First orbital sunset witnessed by human. Darkness profound. Stars brilliant beyond atmosphere's filtering. Orbital sunrise approaching. Gagarin described it. Very beautiful, smooth color transition through atmosphere. Light returning to Earth's edge. Spectrum of colors impossible to describe. Then his famous observation. The Earth is blue. How wonderful. It is amazing. Contemplating planet from 300 kilometers. $27,400 kilometers per hour, racing around the world in 90 minutes, seeing what no human had seen. Peaceful perspective from above. No borders visible from space. Just blue sphere in black void. Gagarin unlocked manual controls using code 125. Tested functionality. Worked perfectly. Relocked for automatic re-entry sequence. Telemetry flowing to ground. Korolev, monitoring all systems, nominal. 108 minutes total mission planned. Single orbit, then home. Retro rocket ban approaching. 10:25 a.m. Moscow time. Automatic sequence initiated. 246-second ban. Reducing orbital velocity. Deorbit begun. But service module failed to separate cleanly. Remained attached by cables. Spacecraft began tumbling violently. Gagarin remained calm despite spinning. He knew cables would burn through, trusted the design. "10:35 a.m. Atmospheric friction burned cables. Modules separated. Capsule stabilized. Heat shield forward. 8 to 10 G forces. Porthole glowed orange. Saw crimson flames outside. 3,000 degrees Celsius on heat shield. Protected inside, descent continued. Atmosphere thickening, velocity decreasing. 7,000 meters altitude. Explosive bolts fired. Ejection seat launched. Gagarin from capsule. Parachute deployed. Separate descent. Gagarin on personal parachute. Capsule on its own system. descending over Saratov Oblast farmland. 10:55 a.m. Landed in field near Smilovka village. Farmer Anna Taktarova watching. Orange-suited figure from sky. Gagarin spoke reassuringly. Don't be afraid. I am a Soviet like you, who has descended from space. Recovery helicopter arrived. First human spaceflight complete. 108 minutes. TASS announced before landing. Khrushchev elated. April 14th, Red Square Parade. Hero of Soviet Union. Instant global celebrity. Most famous human. (10:25 a.m. Moscow time). Automatic retro rocket firing sequence initiated. 246-second burn, reducing velocity. Deorbit begun. but the service module failed to separate cleanly, remained attached by cables. The spacecraft began tumbling violently. Gagarin remained calm despite the spinning. Knew the cables would burn through during re-entry heat. Trusted the design. "10:35 a.m. Atmospheric friction burned through the cables. Modules separated. The capsule stabilized. Heat shield forward. Eight to 10 G-forces during deceleration. The porthole glowed orange. Gagarin saw crimson flames outside the window. Temperature 3000 degrees Celsius on the heat shield surface. Protected inside. Descent continued. Atmosphere thickening. Velocity decreasing. "7,000 meters altitude. Explosive bolts fired. The ejection seat launched Gagarin from the capsule. Parachute deployed. separate descent. Gagarin on his personal parachute. The capsule on its own system. Descending over Saratov Oblast farmland. "10:55 a.m. Landed in a field near Smelovka village. Farmer Anna Takhtarova and her granddaughter Rita saw him. An orange-suited figure descending from the sky. Gagarin said, "Don't be afraid. I am a Soviet like you, who has descended from space." He needed a telephone to call Moscow. The recovery helicopter arrived 30 minutes later. First human spaceflight complete. 108 minutes. TASS news agency announced the flight at 10 a.m. before Gagarin had even landed. Khrushchev was elated, called Gagarin personally. April 14th. Red Square Parade. Hero of the Soviet Union Award. Instant global celebrity. The most famous human on Earth. He visited more than 30 countries, met Queen Elizabeth II, symbol of Soviet achievement, but also symbol of human capability. The smiling cosmonaut everyone loved, regardless of politics. His charm transcended the Cold War, universal admiration. Promoted to Major on April 12th. Colonel by 1963. Deputy to the Supreme Soviet. Member of Central Committee. But constant public attention took its toll. Family strain, drinking problems reported, the burden of eternal fame. Seven years after the flight. March 27, 1968. Training flight in MiG-15. Crash near Kirchach. Age 34. The first human in space would not grow old. Forever young, forever smiling. Eternal symbol those 108 minutes changed everything, showed humanity what was possible. The Earth is blue, a peaceful perspective from above. Borders invisible. Planet fragile. Beautiful. Seen from heaven's perspective. His name on craters, on asteroids, on statues in dozens of cities. April 12th celebrated worldwide. Yuri's Night, the beginning of the space age of humanity. His legacy eternal. Gagarin smile in old photographs. A boy from a destroyed village who touched the stars. Gagarin smile in awe. Who showed us earth from heaven, who went first so others could follow. His words echo still. The earth is blue. wonderful. It is amazing. Rest now, as Yuri rested. After his orbit, peaceful, having seen what few will see. fragile planet, our home. Gagarin's gift to humanity. The knowledge. We can leave the cradle.